Good morning, baseball way of lifers. How you doing? Hope all had a good weekend. You know what Monday is, beginning of the week, and it's our weekly spotlight on the baseball utopian universe. Is it Utopian Baseball Universe, right? And today we have the man, the myth, the legend, Joey Buchholz, to tell us what's going on in the coming week and what's happening, whatever else is on his mind in his great group, the Utopian Baseball Universe. So enough of me yapping. I'm just going to let Joey take it away, and I'll interject some thoughts along the way. So the floor is yours, Joey.
Well, Stan, thanks for having me again. I appreciate it. For anyone that's not familiar with what the Utopian Baseball Universe is, it's basically it's a fictional league I created last March. 32 teams. We simulate an entire schedule, a 156 game schedule. There's 4 divisions of 8. We're in year 2. Last year, the Atlanta Braves beat the Cincinnati Reds in the inaugural championship. This year, the Braves are still doing very well. They got a 7-game lead in the South. Toronto Blue Jays have a 7-game lead in the East. And the Cleveland Indians have a 2-game lead on the Reds in the North. San Diego Padres lead the Giants by 1 game. The way it works, we don't use a computer to simulate it, or else the Yankees would win it every year. The Cardinals would be great every year. I basically take my schedule and I pull box scores from the past. So I know we've actually used your birthday in the past, Stan. So we'll take all the games from one day in the past, and I'll hit shuffle and assign those results to my schedule, and basically tell a story. We do 1 game a day as we simulate on Xbox. 1 game a month we simulate using a dice game. Next year we're going to actually play trivia to simulate some of the games, but it's just kind of an alternate reality. We have the rosters are made up from, you and I are Mets fans, so on a regular day for the lineup, you'd have Piazza catching, Alonso at first, maybe Hernandez. You've got DeGrom, Seaver, Gooden, all in the rotation. So it's all of our favorites, all of the greats, and a lot of today's superstars competing in an alternate league, basically. We've got division games kicking off tonight. We've got 8 division games. The top 2 teams in the universe playing each other tonight, Cleveland at Pittsburgh. We're going to simulate game 3 of that series on Wednesday. We've got Cubs and Twins tonight on ABC's Monday Night Baseball with Al Michaels and Tim McCarver. That's going to be Jake Arrieta versus Frank Viola. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And our very own New York Mets are hosting the Toronto Blue Jays in a big series. The Mets are actually only 5 games out of a wild card right now. So even though they're about 12 games under 500, the East is kind of weird this year. Toronto's been great. The Red Sox are really good, but the Mets are not out of it by any means. They have a chance to get back into a wild card hunt tonight or tomorrow as they start a series with the Blue Jays at Citi Field. Some of the pitching matchups are interesting. We've actually got Roy Halladay versus Noah Syndergaard tomorrow. On Wednesday, we've got R.A. Dickey versus Jerry Koosman. So Dickey returns to Citi Field. And then get this, on Thursday afternoon, Marcus Stroman of the Blue Jays versus Tom Seaver. So that's going to be fantastic. That's going to be on Xbox Thursday afternoon at 1 o'clock. Stroman representing the Blue Jays versus Tom Seaver for the Mets. So very excited about the things that are coming up within the Utopian Baseball Universe. I actually have an open invite. Now, Stan competed in our trivia last week. We've got trivia tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Central. So this is an open invite to anyone from Baseball A Way of Life that's not currently in the Utopian Baseball Universe. We have an open slot for trivia. The intention is to have 7 people compete tomorrow. We've got 6 confirmed. The way the trivia works is I've got 9 topics, so 9 innings of trivia. Everyone gets 1 question an inning, and the top 2 scoring teams tomorrow will advance to the semifinals, which start next week. And the winner of this entire tournament is going to win a $50 gift card of their choosing. So if you're watching this now, if you're a baseball way of lifer like I am, join the Utopian Baseball Universe today. Let me know if you want to play trivia. We'll get you on the show tomorrow. We use StreamYard just like we do for this show and for my show every Monday through Friday called Utopian Cafe. So that's my open invite. Let's get you into the group and let's get you playing a little bit of trivia tomorrow.
And I'll interject something about the trivia contest. I participated last week, and as you can tell, I didn't advance, and that proves once again that I can make the questions, I just can't answer them. But I will say this, even if you're not participating, it is fun. Joey has a wide variety. Every inning has a different topic per se. He even has one on the Utopian Baseball Universe. I think it maybe was the fifth inning.
Yep.
And that was fun. It makes you want to study the Utopian Baseball Universe more, get you more involved in that. But it was fun. It really rattled your brain. If you're a trivia fan like I am, you would enjoy it. So even if you're not participating, I highly recommend you go and watch it. And now, Joey, I know these are archived too, right, on your YouTube channel, Utopian Baseball Universe.
Yeah.
So you can watch some of the past ones. I think there's been 2 so far, and they're fun. And you want entertainment, a little trivia. You can't find baseball trivia anywhere to watch. I would highly recommend that. It's fun, interactive, and some very good questions are asked.
Yeah, we had a tournament last year, and I believe the finals for last year's tournament are archived on the Utopian Baseball Universe YouTube channel. The first 2 first round games are also on there as well. The shows run about an hour. But I try to, like I said, I try to keep them entertaining. The 5th inning is always Utopian Baseball Universe related, and I always enjoy that because it tells me how closely some people might be paying attention. I do it in jest. That obviously I think there was a show last year where I gave someone a hard time because he had been in the Utopian Baseball Universe since day one. He got what I thought was an obvious question wrong, and I said, "Do you guys even love me? Like, what's going on here? Does anyone pay attention to anything I'm doing?" But it's all done in good fun. Some of the topics we have for tomorrow are baseball movies. There's actually a topic called Joey where all the questions are going to be related to me. So let's see how well my friends know me as it relates to my baseball preferences. It's going to be a really fun show. Mitch Nellis, who's actually doing his show on Facebook right now called A Little Bit of Thunder, he's going to be a participant. He was a finalist last year against JD Schloss, who won the tournament. We have our first female participant, Kayla Nicole. Now, one of my intentions actually at some point is to do an all-female tournament to try to gauge interest in that. I tried to get about half of them, half females for this one. I just got no interest or the timing didn't work. So Kayla's going to play. Tomorrow we've got Jeff Turner. He's a big Cubs and an Indians fan. Jamie Howell's a big Pirates fan. Bert Zietler's a big contributor. It's gonna be a lot of fun tomorrow, and hopefully we get a mystery opponent that I can announce later today or tomorrow to participate in that tournament.
Yeah, it was fun, and I liked. I think it was the 8th inning, maybe. Last week you asked the topic was the only player to hit a grand slam in All-Star history, and you actually were thinking that should have been a question itself, but it was basically all questions on Fred Lynn. So it's fun stuff like that you get. And Joey threw me a softball, and I swung and missed. What was Fred Lynn's number? And afterwards, when I said I couldn't think of anything, I said number 7. It was actually 19. As soon as he said 19, I said, "Oh my God, I can vision his number right there." So it's one of those things where you may even know the answer, but you just freeze up, and it's just fun because yeah, it's one of those questions like that. But good stuff indeed, and I'll try to watch it tomorrow or on demand because it's always fun and good questions are asked all the time. So any big matchups we can look forward to this week in Utopian Baseball Universe?
Yeah,
we went over the Mets schedule with the Blue Jays, and that looks enticing. But anything else on the agenda?
Yeah, so the biggest series this year so far in the regular season, the top team in the universe, the Cleveland Indians, are traveling to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was the top team in the universe for about 2 months. They've actually fallen to 3rd place in the North right now, but they're only 3 games back. So basically the 3 top teams in the universe right now are all in the North: Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh. So Cleveland's traveling to Pittsburgh tonight. And the third game of that series is going to be featured on Xbox on Wednesday. So that one I'm very much looking forward to. What else do we got here? Let's see. Well, like I said, the Mets are hosting the Blue Jays. Yankees are hosting the Expos, so that's always going to be fun. The Brewers actually open a series tonight against the White Sox. The Brewers have struggled this year, but it's always a competitive series to see them face the White Sox. We've got Lucas Giolito facing Teddy Higuera on Wednesday. That should be a interesting one. Bryce Harper returns to Philadelphia. He actually represents the Nationals in the universe. So the Nationals face the Phillies. Steven Strasburg versus Steve Carlton. That'll be an interesting matchup. We've got Seattle against the Angels. So you got Ken Griffey Jr. competing against Mike Trout. So a bunch of fun stuff. It's mostly division games for the next 2 weeks before we return to interdivision games for 2 weeks. And then we always usually finish the season with about 3.5 weeks of division games. So I think the emphasis as far as just hype is going to be that Cleveland-Pittsburgh series kicking off tonight.
Okay, and just off the wall questions. I'm not sure if I should know the answers to these. How do you determine what ballpark these games going to be played in? Say Philadelphia has Veterans Stadium, they have Citizens Bank. Do you determine what ballpark it's going to be for any given day?
Yeah, so what I do is every year I actually create a custom baseball card set, and in that set it has every player that's on the rosters, and then I actually create baseball cards for the stadiums that I use within the universe. And I want to give you some unique examples. For the most part, Stan, I use the modern stadiums just because I think as a fan, I would rather see a game at a baseball stadium than a multiplex like Veteran Stadium or Three Rivers. So yeah, we're using PNC, we're using Citizens Bank Park. There are some examples where I am using the older stadium. Like we actually use Comiskey Park for the White Sox. I'm not a big fan of whatever they're calling the new stadium in Chicago these days. I think it was one of the last of the quote kind of cookie cutters. It doesn't have the charm that Oriole Park at Camden Yards has, or even some of the older stadiums like Fenway or Wrigley. Some of the teams I actually have like fictional renderings of stadiums. So since I brought back the Montreal Expos, I actually I use a city I use a stadium called Bronfman Field, which has been, I guess there's some renderings out there of what a fictional new stadium in Montreal might look like. So we use that. I did the same for Tampa Bay. I use a fictional rendering called Ybor City Stadium. We introduced a new stadium in Oakland this year called Howard Terminal Ballpark. These are all things that are kind of in the works that may or may not happen, but I'm using them in the universe. For Durham, I actually have the Durham Bulls playing at their actual minor league stadium with a more intimate setting just to give it a different feel. But our Mets play at Citi Field. One of the things that I'm considering maybe for year 3, which will kick off next March, is doing one series a year in alternate stadiums. So having the Mets host one series a year at Shea, having the Brewers play at County Stadium, I think would be a very unique wrinkle to the universe. Maybe spread those out throughout the season so that we're not doing them all in the same weekend. We can actually feature and say, okay, these next 3 games for the Phillies are at Veterans, or have the Dodgers play a series in Brooklyn, or have the Giants play a series at the Polo Grounds. I think would be a really interesting wrinkle to add maybe next year.
Okay, that answers my question. I guess, well, in my group itself, I think every Wednesday I always get a ballpark. When I say the stadium, what's the first thing that comes to your head? Chicago, you mentioned that. We can't think of the name. Oakland's another one. I asked the question, what the hell stadium is that? You can't even keep up with the name changes. So, like, Chicago's one of them. When I throw the name out there, they don't even know what stadium I'm talking about. It changes from year to year. So I could see the complexity of trying to say, I don't even know, is a U.S. Cellular ballpark? I can't even remember what it is now, now.
That's what it was for years, and now I think it's like a mortgage company or something.
Yeah,
like
you guarantee. What's guaranteed rate? That's the White Sox, right?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it's just weird. if I ask that question, half the people don't even know what that ballpark is. So it's funny that way.
Well, even the stadium here in Milwaukee was Miller Park for 20 years. It's now American Family Field. I'm going to still call it Miller Park. I was calling Miller Park County Stadium for years. So you can keep changing the name. It doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah. Well, I like the Met City Field. You actually, like, if you don't know how it's spelled, you think, oh, New York City, City Field. So it kind of relates. Like for football, for the Jets and Giants, where they play, I said the perfect name for that would have been Jet Blue, but I guess MetLife came in with more money. How's attendance? Do you have any idea of how the games are attended, attendance-wise?
You're talking about within the universe?
Yes.
So if you go to the within the group within the actual group on Facebook, there's a synopsis like this is what the group's about, and it kind of talks about what my vision for a utopian baseball universe would be, and all of the ticket prices are reasonable. I'm not saying you get in for like $3, but like we don't have like $1,500 first front row tickets. Front row tickets probably going to be $40. General admission is going to be like $12, $15. So I'm thinking since this is all kind of happening in my head that we're getting sellouts pretty much every night. There's going to be weather related games where we might not have a sellout, but I'm picturing if the Mets are hosting the Yankees at Citi Field, that's always going to be a sellout. Even teams that aren't doing very well right now, like Florida, they're in the hunt like for a wild card, but they're in like sixth place right now. I'm still picturing like a full stadium, which is kind of rare in Miami. But the way I'm looking at it is in a utopia, maybe slightly smaller capacities, but full capacity.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's no reason I think in 2021 for a team like the Marlins to have a stadium that houses 50-60,000 when they don't even draw 8,000 most nights. But in the universe, I'm picturing 30,000 at least every night in every stadium.
Yeah, even going into Major League Baseball, I heard even Tampa Bay is looking to have like at most, if they build a new stadium, 25,000. So it gives it that sold out rocking feel all the time instead of the place they're playing right now. Clubs are basically looking to reduce the size of the ballparks to make it more intimate and more interactive with the fans, with the players, I guess, because I guess that was kind of lost when they had the 60,000 seat stadiums or whatever. You're like a mile away from the action. Another question I wanted to ask was, has COVID-19 come into play at all with these games this year?
No, so I get that question a lot. Actually, no. So like when I'm creating, a perfect universe for baseball. So we don't have COVID-19 cancellations. We don't have race. Like Ty Cobb is actually a decent guy in the universe. We don't have obviously segregation. We don't have steroids. We don't have sign stealing. I mean, we have natural sign stealing. You're on second base, trying to read the catcher signals, but we don't have any of that stuff. I actually, when I'm simulating games, when I'm pulling from the past, I'm not pulling any games from the last 2 years because I'm not a big fan of the, 7-inning gimmick or the runner on second base thing.
So we'll never see that in the universe then, is what
we're never going to see that in the universe. You're also never going to see a designated hitter in the Utopian Baseball universe because pitchers can rake in the universe. Actually, this past weekend or last week, we had an Xbox game that went 16 innings. My battery was actually running pretty low during the game, so I was kind of freaking out. And a Washington Nationals relief pitcher ended the game hitting a solo homer off Whitey Ford in the 16th inning. On the air, I was like, I can't believe this. Like, I cannot believe what just happened. But that's what the universe is supposed to be, is baseball players. Pitchers can hit. We had Martin Tahigo, who's a Negro League Hall of Famer, take the bump yesterday for the Brewers and hit sixth. He joined Shohei Ohtani as the second full-time two-way player within the universe.
Yeah, some say he was even the greatest Negro player of all time, too. They say he was a stud.
Well, he played every position. I mean, he could pitch, he could play shortstop, he could play left field. yeah, he was a fascinating player. And when I saw the way I drafted the Negro League players to the rosters, it was all kind of based on need. And for the Brewers, I think they just needed a good, Swiss Army knife, someone that could play a little bit of infield, someone that could play a little bit outfield, maybe pitch a little bit. And then, sure enough, in his first start in the universe, he beat Satchel Paige.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So a big week ahead. Big week ahead. uh, I guess those were all the questions I had about the universe today. Anything else on your mind, baseball related, or?
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about, because I need to be educated here, and I think you'll have the answer I'm looking for. Tell me what your thoughts are on this Kumar Rocker thing, because I'm seeing very polarizing opinions about how the Mets handled this. They drafted this kid out of Vanderbilt. He's 21 years old. From everything I've read, he was one of the biggest prospects coming out of college in the last 10 years as far as a starting pitcher. And the Mets chose not to sign him yesterday because of what they are considering a failed physical, although his agent and his family stress that he's not even hurt right now. So when I hear your thoughts on this, I think this is a big missed opportunity for the Mets. Again, because you're not paying the guy $300 million right now. I think you're paying him like $6 million.
Right.
Why not take a chance on this guy, even if he has to have Tommy John at the age of 21? We have some pitchers on this roster that have done that. So, what are your thoughts on this whole Rocker situation?
Well, I'll give you a roundabout answer to get to the answer you want. The beginning of the year, he was lights out, him and Leiter. Every time out, they basically were almost throwing no hitters all the time. But in the second half of the year, because I was following both of them closely, because I've never seen anything like that since Trevor Bauer and Garrett Cole were in college. And even that, I'll be honest with you, I didn't follow them that closely. But now with the accessibility of college baseball, you can follow it more and more often. And like ESPN has it, if you have ESPN Plus, they'll be televising the games. And I watched a couple of them, and he was lights out, but he's starting to lose it at the end. And even in the College World Series, he got lit up. So I'm saying there might have been a reason why he dropped. Maybe there were signs that he was losing something. Again, I don't watch every game he pitched, but you could see his numbers tail off towards the end of the year. But I will say this, I was excited when they drafted him, seeing what I did see in the beginning of the year, and I think he's a colorful character, sort of like a Baez. You know what I'm saying? There's someone that has electricity when he's on the mound. But again, if you're not going to release your records like that, I think that's what the Mets were really concerned about, was didn't want to release it. Now, I know he's going to Vanderbilt next year, so he won't even, I think you probably have to sit. I'm not sure how that works. If you get drafted and they choose not to sign you, what happens? Do you have to go back to college, or do you have to?
The way
No,
it
go ahead,
works,
John. Sorry.
yeah. So the way it works is if you're drafted and you don't sign, you can basically go back to college, but you can't sign with another team. So it's not like Rocker's a free agent right now. If he goes back to Vanderbilt, he becomes draft eligible in 2022. But I guess my question is, and I didn't realize that he didn't release his records, is why do you even draft him at that point if you're?
Well, that's the other thing. That's the big faux pas on the front office. Like, you didn't do due diligence in doing your homework, and then you draft him. So it's like a catch-22. You don't want him, but you don't want him because you didn't do the work to begin with. You draft him because you wanted him, and then you find out you don't want him because he doesn't meet certain criteria. And you hate to say it, that's almost like the Mets pre-Steve Cohen, where they would do something like that. It's kind of sad in the regard. What I didn't realize is if you don't sign your pick, or maybe because he was a number 10, they're getting a number 11 next year. So they may be actually getting 2 draft picks in the first round next year. So it may not be a total loss. But the Mets are saying this is how they want to build their team through the farm system. They're spending so much money, even analyzing all these guys for them to drop the ball like this. It kind of questions, how much are they really putting into it, effort on doing all the research on these players beforehand. Now, me, I just go with the flow. I always say things will work out in the end, but I really did want to see him because he's one of the few college players I actually saw play college ball before they actually came into the pros. Leiter was just amazing. I mean, he can throw the ball. He's going to be like a Jacob deGrom, I think, the way he throws the ball. And Rocker was just right up there with him too. So it was a 1-2 combination. And I would like to see Leiter, sure, but he was the number 2 pick. Rocker falling to 10, I felt this was a dream come true. It all worked out. But now you have to question, how did he fall to number 10? So, like I said, I would have taken the chance on him anyway. Teams do that, so he sits out for another year or two, or you work with him to get his ailments remedied, whatever they may be. But it's just not meant to be. But to answer your question, I would have liked to have seen him sign with the Mets, but just unfortunate that it kind of a waste of year as far as the draft pick's concerned.
Yeah, I would, he was there. There were only 2 or 3 names that I recognized, and he was one of them. So when I saw the Mets took him, I was excited. I'm still excited to see what his career looks like if he ends up, drafted again next year. Leiter went to Texas, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that both of these guys have great careers, but yeah, it just left a little bit of bitterness yesterday. Even the way, and look, we all love Uncle Stevie, but like he was really hammered on Twitter last night for the way he kind of handled this, saying, "Hey, this is our process, and we believe in acquiring draft picks as assets." It almost sounds like it was a strategy to say, "Let's take them. If we sign them, great. If not, we're going to get a second pick next year." Maybe they see that next year's pitching class is deeper. I don't know, but not the way I wanted that to end up. But we'll keep an eye on it over the next couple of years.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with giving up Pete Crow Armstrong too. He was the number 4 pick in the draft, and you gave him up. But I know you have to give up something to get something. But he was injured this year. But you just hope that doesn't come back. Like I always said, we had this discussion, I think, off air. The best trades you make are the ones you don't make. So if the Mets don't finish in first place this year, and we gave up a number 1 for Baez, and I think that again, I'm reading into things too much. But as soon as they made the trade, Zach Scott goes out to talk to Francisco Lindor. He's like doing drills in the infield. Are they making this Lindor's team where they're going to get the players that Lindor wants and make him happy and everything like that? That's a dangerous thing to start doing when you have like Lindor's endorsing Baez, and you get Baez and the general manager coming out specifically to tell Lindor that they got Baez. So I'm a little worried about that they may not be investing their free agent money the right way if they're going to go Baez and Lindor. But it's a dynamic double play duo. And they're both in their like 27, 28. So for the next 5 years, it's probably worth it. But then you don't want to be hamstrung with these contracts at the end of the line either. So it's a slippery slope. And like I said, I'd rather draft guys through the farm system and let them develop.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we won't be able to do that with Armstrong. But again, we had this conversation offline. The 3 guys I didn't want to see them give up are Alvarez, because the way they're talking, he could actually be one of the best catchers in baseball when he comes up. And Batty is one of the best bats in minor league ball right now. So the future's good. And I think Batty may even be the 3rd baseman before we know it. So
Nice.
You just have to be patient and see what happens. But the thing that concerns me about the Mets is their run differential for the season is -9, and they're in first place. That just shouldn't be. So basically, that's telling me like when Kansas City had good years all these times, they had terrible run differentials, but somehow they managed to do it on shoestrings, and they got there. But in the long term, you just can't do this playing the way the Mets are playing right now. So they just got to get healthy and just keep improving the ball club. But you can't have this satisfied mode that they have right now and just be content with that when your opponents are outscoring you. And that's what kind of worries me about the Braves is their run differentials like +40 something. So if you go by that alone, the Braves are the best team in the NL East. And the Mets have a rough stretch ahead with the Giants and Dodgers coming up in it. So it's going to be an interesting month. Could be very happy at the end of the month. Could be very depressed. But hopefully not depressed.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Anything else, Joey? Or?
Well, I mean, I just like you, I could talk all day. I actually noticed my phone battery right now is at 7%. So I'm gonna.
Oh, that's a good excuse because you don't want to talk to me. Give me the old 7% battery excuse.
No,
I get it. I get it.
I will screenshot this right now.
I get it. You're outside. You're not near a charger. I get it. But anyway,
I'm actually taking a picture of this right now to prove it.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably one you took. That reminds me of a guy when I was working. every time it was snow, like this one, we had to physically go into the office. And the guy said, "Oh man, there's a major snowstorm." And all of us had like 2-3 inches. He takes a picture of his car with 18 inches. So we're all busting like private emails to him. What was that taken? Like 5 years ago? That's what you're going to show me. Your 7% was from 9 years ago when you took a photo. But anyway, always a pleasure, Joey. And to remind everybody, we're here every Monday to start your week off right, or maybe wrong, right? Hopefully. Joey will give you updates on the Utopian Baseball Universe. And then he returns the favor Friday, where we pick a topic of the day. Last week, it was the Mets Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and we just ran with it from there. So I'm on his channel, too, on Friday at the same time. I think 8:30 it's going to be.
Yep, 8:30 every Friday. We got Stan Phillips in the Utopian Cafe. Normally, we're Monday through Friday at 7 a.m., but so we're going to have Stan on Friday, and over the next couple days, I'll come up with some good stuff for us to talk about.
Good. And by the way, your friend Salvatore Tahigo, he's always popping onto these YouTube casts. He said, "Stop praying, Stan. Church is conducted on Sunday." Should I block him?
No,
he's a good sense of humor. I'm always playing him, Mom. I'm always playing him. And Geek, your cousin, he came in and says, "Watch out for, got a picture to go." What was he talking about?
What did he say?
He said, "Watch out for," and he's got the goat meme symbol. I don't know who he was talking about.
Oh, I'll have to ask him. He's actually a friend of mine.
Yeah. So I'm glad these guys are watching, and they left other comments too. And I'm sure when you see it, it's on there. And Joey, like I said, feel free. I can send you the link for the YouTube page. You can put it on your channel too if you want. So
yeah, I'll actually throw it up here in the next probably hour or so.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So once again, every Monday we're on at 8:30. Great conversation always with Joey, and Joey, I want to thank you. We'll do it again Monday, and we'll be on your YouTube channel on Friday. Same time, 8:30.
Sounds good. Have a good day, guys.
Take care,
thanks
folks.
for having me, Stan.
All right, no problem. Take care.
Bye.